If you're feeling like you no longer resonate with the people, places, and things that you usually resonate with, it is because you are rapidly expanding into the highest version of yourself. So, this is something that I've really been thinking about because every few months it feels like I am moving out of certain environments and going into new ones. And I would say the fact that I had one job from September to the end of October, that was done, no longer resonated with that environment. Then I went into a new environment, the end of October, basically Halloween through to about like 2 weeks ago. That's when that job ended. And now I'm starting a new job tomorrow. And for me, I think the fact that I am switching jobs so rapidly, and it's not really my intention, right? I'm going into these environments and I'm like, how can I make the best of the situation? How can I learn as much as possible? How can I figure out a way to become successful in this environment and not look for issues, like focus on the positives, all of that, right? However, because I'm having these different encounters with people, different challenges that present themselves, and I'm choosing to look at these challenges from a higher perspective than I would at a previous point in time. I'm recognizing that because I'm taking that higher level perspective when I'm looking at these different situations, it's making it so that I am upgrading in my level of consciousness, which is then resulting in me upgrading in my environments. And I don't think a lot of people really look at their lives this way. Maybe they do, I don't know. They just think, oh my gosh, my job, it's so annoying. Like, these people are annoying, that person is annoying. Or, oh my gosh, I'm so over my boyfriend, or I'm so over my husband or whatever, my girlfriend, whatever. I don't want to be with them anymore. And it's like, you no longer resonate with them. That's the reason why you want to get out of the situation, of the relationship, of the job, whatever. And you have to be able to look at it as not being a bad thing, but instead it's really pointing to how much work and how much growth you've actually had in a short amount of time. If you are, upgrading your job every few months, upgrading your surroundings that you're in every few months, it means that you are rapidly expanding. And I don't think people are necessarily prepared for that type of life, because I think it's so easy for people to look at you and be like, oh my gosh, you're such a job hopper. Oh my gosh, you never settle, this, that. But what if it's something else? What if it is the fact that you are expanding so much and so often that certain environments literally can't continue anymore? Certain relationships are just not the thing for you anymore. Certain places just are no longer in resonance with you. And that is okay. I think if you can get comfortable with the fact that the more that you expand and the more rapidly that you expand, the more you are going to be in a constant state of flux. Because if you really think about it, the only constant in our lives is change, all right? We know that the day is going to change. We know that the time is going to change. We know that our age is going to change. So it's like, why would we expect everything around us to mostly stay the same? It may look like it is, but nothing is ever really staying the same. Even if you're in the same job this year than you were last year, it's highly likely that your role has changed, even if you're in the same role. Or maybe you're at a different role in the same company. Okay, you're gonna maybe look a little different, maybe not a lot. Okay, maybe you switch up your makeup routine, maybe you switch up your style, maybe you start exercising. We are constantly in flux. So it is weird that we resist change so much, because change is inevitable, okay? It is the only constant. And I think once I started to really internalize this and get comfortable with it, then I started to recognize that, like, hey, you know what? It's actually okay that I no longer resonate with these people, with this job, with this environment, because that means that I am upgrading. And upgrading is a great thing. Why? Because change is the only constant. If I'm not changing, that is not a good thing, okay? Because As soon as you stop to evolve, you start to die. There's that saying where it's like evolve or die, okay? You always want to be evolving, all right? Even in jobs, like I see my mom always going for training for her job like every year, and they're upgrading her skills and all like that. And it's like you constantly have to upgrade because things are constantly changing, all right? So don't feel bad if it feels like you're in limbo land, if it feels like you don't know what's coming next. As long as you are feeling hopeful about the future and you're not resisting the change, but instead going with the flow, embracing the change, looking for the positive aspects of it, realizing and recognizing that you are leveling up at a rapid pace, which is why things continue to change for you. And I think when you can have your footing in that, in your sense of self, and not put it in the environments and the people that you find yourself around, you will put yourself in a much better headspace. Because if everything's changing, but you know the core of who you are is the same, there's really nothing to fear, okay? There's nothing to fear except fear itself. And I think that is the best place that you can be in. And I think one of the reasons why so many people don't want to change is because I don't think they have a strong sense of self. So I think they're almost wholly reliant upon the things that they are used to staying the same so that they can feel good about themselves. But you can't derive your sense of safety from the external world, okay? Everything comes from within. So if you are not good within, it's going to be very hard for you to be actually good in life, all right? Because then everything outside of you is affecting how you feel in your life about yourself. And that's a horrible way to be. And I've been there. It freaking sucks. And it just takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of sitting with yourself. It takes a lot of contemplation. It takes a lot of asking yourself the hard questions. And funny enough, guys, I started using ChatGPT the other day because they have this like therapist thing. Okay, not that I've started using it for the first time ever, but I'm saying I started using it for the first time when it came to like the therapy thing, because it honestly asks good questions. Like I don't even necessarily need a therapist to talk to me. I need it to be a sounding board and to ask me the questions that I need so that it can make me think in a different way, which is why I kind of like the whole AI counseling thing. I think it can go a step too far when people get super duper attached to it. But I think in terms of being introspective and you opening up to this AI thing and it asking you really targeted good questions that maybe you wouldn't be able to ask yourself, I think that's an awesome thing. And I also think that is how you level up, because if you're asking yourself things that you've never asked yourself before, it's going to cause you to think things that you've never thought before. And duh, you are going to change. You are going to up level, all right? And this is why I'm really looking at my work situation that kind of ended weirdly in a different light, because I'm like, oh shit, it kind of had to end that way so abruptly because I was no longer in resonance with that environment. No shade to any of the people. I will never be friends with any of them ever. But I do think it says a lot about my growth and how rapid it's been. And I think this is a really great way to frame things that occur in your life, because then you're never a victim, right? Like everything is working together for your good. Everything is pushing you to grow into your highest self without the drugs and to be the very best version of yourself. And how could you hate that? Yeah, it might suck in the moment, but when you take a higher level perspective and you look at it and you see that, hey, actually, I no longer resonated with that environment and I had to get out, and the universe wanted to yank me out of there, so it did it in the quickest way possible. So if you ever feel like, oh my gosh, this person dumped me randomly, like I don't understand, that's why. If you ever feel like anything sudden happens in your life and you don't necessarily know why, a lot of times it's literally because you're no longer in resonance with that person, place, thing. And I think if you start to look at it that way, you will have a lot more grace for yourself, and you won't put yourself in this vibration of woe is me, because I don't think being in a woe is me energy helps anyone. And by being in a woe is me energy, it only puts you around other woe is me's, and that's gonna not be good for your growth, babe. So look at the lesson for what it is, all right? You are leveling up. How are you going to handle it? And move on. Elevate, okay? That's what we're supposed to do here. And that's really it. So if you like this message, like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, one more thing I had to share. So I decided to download some dating apps yesterday because I'm like, you know what? Like, it'd be so cool. You know, I haven't like dated in a while, but I was doing it last night. I was getting super into it. And this is what happens to me, right? I'll get super into it for a little while. And I'm like, fuck this. Like, I don't want to be like on these apps looking for someone. I'd rather just be in my daily life, meet someone. That's a way better thing. Maybe I'm a little horny, whatever, but like at the end of the day, I'm not that type of girl who's like going off and doing that. So I'm not going to start today. So sometimes you have to revisit things and step into it, see how it feels, try it on. And if it's not right, let it go. It's okay. Your person is coming, your time is coming, or it could be here right now. But it depends on how you look at it and whether or not you're willing to, what's the word? You can't settle. And when you don't settle, sometimes things take a little bit longer. And I always think it's better to match up with people, places, jobs that are in alignment with where you're going, as opposed to linking up with something temporarily because you might be in that energy and then later on having to break it off because you knew long term it wasn't really what you wanted. And the more that you do have these experiences, ultimately, the more that you learn about yourself. So whatever way you go about it, it's okay. But just know that this entire life is about discovering who you are through the people, places, and situations that you find yourself in. And the moment that you can really start to understand what is that unchanging thing about yourself is the moment that things start to click, and is the moment that I think you will step into your power, because I know for sure that's what happened to me. So again, if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.